Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be recapping the Orioles' embarrassing loss to the New York Yankees. The Orioles get shut out in this game. After yesterday, their offense was pretty good yesterday. You know, they put up 5 runs, they did their thing, they got the win in yesterday's game, in game 1 of the series, but unfortunately the Orioles get shut out in today's game. They lose 0-9 to the New York Yankees in Game 2 of the series, and Game 3 is tomorrow, which is the rubber match game. Winner wins the series, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. But we're going to go over this game. Pretty embarrassing loss overall. The Orioles were getting no hit through the first 7 innings in this game, where eventually Gary Sanchez got the only hit in this entire game for the Orioles. 1 total hit in this entire game for the Orioles, thanks to Gary Sanchez breaking up the no-hitter in the 8th inning. But a very embarrassing game both for the offense and the pitching. Zach Eflin struggled heavily in this game, only got through 3 innings. The bullpen gave up a few runs as well, but the offense obviously only got 1 hit the entire game and almost got no hit. And that is actually the second time this season that the Orioles have almost gotten no hit. If you think back to the it was a couple of months ago, but it was actually the game following the 24-2 loss where we played the Nationals in Washington, where the Orioles only got 1 hit in that game, and I think they lost that game like 3 or 4-0. And then today they only get 1 total hit and lose 9-0. The Yankees offense came firing early, and the Orioles offense obviously couldn't match it. We only got 1 hit the entire game, so very, very embarrassing stuff from the Orioles. Extremely disappointing and just confusing loss after what happened yesterday. Obviously, the Orioles have won the past 2 games. They've been doing their thing. They've been going on a good run, but in the past 2 losses that the Orioles have had, they've been absolutely heartbreaking. Obviously, today you lose 9-0 and you only get 1 total hit in the entire game, and you were getting no hit through the first 7 innings of the game. But also, if you go back to before today, the last loss that we had was the 8-run blown lead that the Orioles suffered in that loss to Tampa. But let's just go over this game. Going over this Orioles and Yankees game, a very disappointing loss in this game. There's really not anything to talk about in this game, so today's episode might not be too long, but the Orioles offense did nothing. They scored 0 runs. They had 1 total hit in the entire game. They got walked 3 times, so they got on base a total of 4 times, 3 walks, 1 hit. Again, shout out to Gary Sanchez, I guess, for getting the only hit in this game and saving us from being no hit against Clark Schmidt and Brubacher, who was making his first appearance in Major League Baseball, or his first appearance in 3 years, I think. But let's just start off with the offense. Again, not really anything to talk about. 1 total hit, 3 walks, 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Left 5 guys on base. There was a hit by pitch as well. So we got on base more than, we were getting on base a little bit. We got on base 5 times in this game. Left all 5 of them on, 3 walks, 1 hit by pitch, 1 hit. So we got nothing really going on. Jackson Holliday went hitless. Jordan Westburg, we actually need to talk about him. So he was DHing in this game, and he actually had to get removed due to left hand discomfort because I think he slid into the base and hit his hand, and he was wincing a little bit afterwards. So hopefully Jordan Westburg isn't hurt and doesn't have to go back on IL. This Orioles team, I feel like all of our bones are made of rubber or something, because we are not even rubber. The bones are made of glass this season, because this Orioles team is been getting hurt a little bit too much this year. And Jordan Westbrook, left hand discomfort, did have to take him out of the game. Replaced him for Kobe Mayo. Kobe didn't get a hit. Gunnar didn't get a hit. His 14-game hit streak is over. Ryan O'Hearn didn't get a hit. Ramon Laureano didn't get a hit. Colton Cowser didn't get a hit. Gary Sanchez, the lone hit for the Orioles, 1 for 3. And then Cedric Mullins and Ramon Urias also didn't get a hit in this game. A lot of averages went down, pretty much. I think literally everyone's average went down this game, which is disappointing to see. Another thing that we have to talk about is this morning, the Orioles did place Adley Rutschman on the 10-day IL with a left oblique strain, which scares me because oblique injuries in baseball can turn into some very long injury. Like, sometimes it can lead to a very long injury, which is what I'm scared for. Obviously, you don't want to lose a guy like Adley. I think we called up Maverick Candley to be like kind of our backup catcher, with Gary Sanchez obviously going to now, I guess, for at least the next 10 days and for the time being, Gary Sanchez is going to be your almost everyday catcher, which I don't really know how I feel about it. I mean, he did get the only hit today, so I can't be mad at him about that. And yet, yesterday he also got 2 RBIs. So Gary Sanchez has been playing pretty solid over the past week or so. So hopefully he can keep it up because he's going to be getting a lot more playing time with Adley hurt. Hopefully the Adley thing isn't too bad. They said that they have some optimism that it's not that bad of an injury. But again, it is an oblique strain, so sometimes it's complicated. It might lead to a long injury. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, so Jordan Westburg left the game with left hand discomfort. Hopefully he doesn't have to go to IL as well, because then, the Orioles obviously for most of the season don't have any, like Jordan. They don't have Jordan. They don't have Colton. They don't have Tyler O'Neill. They don't have Cedric Mullins. So you have all these guys out with injury. You finally get your team healthy again, and then you lose Adley this morning, and now you lose Jordan Westburg in this game. So hopefully Jordan doesn't have to go on IL, because then you've lost 2 everyday players once again, and you might be back in the same rut that you were just about a month ago. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. I think Jordan will be okay. Hopefully we'll see if he plays tomorrow. It is a very early game tomorrow, because I think the game is being played on like Tubi TV or something. I don't know. But again, the offense didn't do anything. Not really much to talk about there. But going over to the pitching, it was a complete disaster from Zach Eflin. He has had some pretty bad starts here recently. His ERA goes up to a 5.46. But Zach Eflin only gets through 3 innings in this game. Gets through 3 innings, gives up 10 hits, 2 walks, 6 runs, has 4 strikeouts in the process, and gives up 3 home runs. I think he gave up 3 home runs within the first 2 innings. Again, he only got through 3 innings, gave up 10 hits, 2 walks, 6 runs, and 3 home runs. A 90 pitch count through 3 innings. A 5.46 ERA ballooned up to. Not great from Zach at all. You would love to see him play better than what he did today. Obviously, his last start against Tampa, I think he gave up like 12 hits and 7 runs across 5 innings. So he has a worse game today because he only gets through 3 innings, still gives up 6 runs, still gives up a ton of hits. So I don't really know what's been going on with Zach Eflin. He's been leaving a lot of balls over the middle, and they've just been kind of getting annihilated. Obviously, 3 home runs let up for Zach Eflin today. So definitely his worst start of the season. That is back-to-back horrible starts for Zach Eflin. His ERA looks horrible right now for good reason. And I said it earlier on my Twitter, and also make sure to follow at BOAF podcast on Twitter. But Zach Eflin, I was talking about on Twitter, I was saying, like, he's really starting to scare me, because this was your opening day starter. Him, he was supposed to be one of the only guys you can really trust in the starting pitching staff, him and Tomoyuki Sugano, but that is now back-to-back games now against the Yankees, where yesterday it kind of was like a bullpen game because Tomoyuki didn't even get through 4 innings yesterday, and then today Zach Eflin only gets through 3, so you kind of had back-to-back bullpen games. Obviously the Orioles won yesterday because the bullpen was incredible, but today it was kind of unrecoverable, especially when your offense only puts up 1 total hit in the game, so back-to-back bullpen games pretty much, and those bullpen games just so happen to be your best pitchers, so we'll see what the next few days look like for this Orioles team. The bullpen is a little bit taxed, and now you're going to get into like the Dean Kramer starts and the Charlie Morton starts and probably the Trevor Rogers starts, so we'll see how those go. It's going to be an interesting next few days for the Orioles, I'll say that. But Andrew Kittredge in this game, he gives up a run. Scott Blewett gives up a run, and then Yenir Cano and Vasquez, do fine. They don't give up a run at all. But the pitching, not great. Obviously gives up 9 runs. Your starting pitcher only got through 3 innings, and you just kind of weren't able to recover from there. Again, only 1 hit as well. So the pitching was horrendous. The offense was horrendous. 1 total hit in this game. Your starting pitcher only gets through 3 innings. And, you're just not going to win a game like that. You're also not going to win a game when you score 0 runs. So you just kind of have to, wipe this game away and move on to tomorrow in a must-win, and I'll say it again, must-win game tomorrow against the New York Yankees. to win this series over New York. And it is going to be Dean Kramer versus Will Warren, two pitchers that have very similar ERAs and very similar whips as well. Two pitchers that have kind of struggled a little bit this year. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if Dean Kramer can get through 5, maybe even 6 innings tomorrow. He's been doing well recently, though. He's been having some solid starts. He's been going a lot of innings for the Orioles, which is good to see that he's been eating innings. But I'm really looking for the offense tomorrow to have a big bounce-back game. Obviously, they only put up 1 hit today. I'm looking tomorrow for them to have double-digit hits. I'm looking for a couple of home runs out in the short porch right field in Yankee Stadium. And I'm looking for the Orioles to go out there and win this game tomorrow, win this series, and then move on to the next one, get back to single digits below 500, and just move on with the season. The Orioles' record right now is 33-43. It's back to being 10 games below 500. And you're approaching the end of June right now, and this is where this Orioles team really needs to have things click for them. They really need to lock in. They really need to get things going. They really have no wiggle room anymore to lose any series or even lose games at this point. They really have to stay locked in. I think they're now 6.5 games out of the playoff spot, or 7 games now. So it's not looking good for the O's. They really got to lock in to end this month. They got to go on a nice stretch of games in this last week and a half of this month, and then obviously going into July as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully the Orioles can go out here tomorrow, get an early start, get the Yankees bullpen out there early, and I just want to see a great offensive day tomorrow from the Orioles, and really have a good bounce back game from what happened in today's game. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify. Make sure to click the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on or watching on. And follow the socials. Follow the Instagram, follow the Twitter. I'm live tweeting on Twitter, posting updates on Instagram and on Twitter, so make sure to give those a follow. And yeah, very disappointing loss for the Orioles today. Not really a long episode because, again, the offense only put up 1 hit, and the pitching gives up 9 runs, and we got shut out 9-0, and you're not going to win a game when you score 0 runs. But the series isn't over. It's tied 1-1 right now. You're going into the rubber match tomorrow. Hopefully the Orioles can pull it off. I think they can. I really want to see a big bounce-back game. I want to see this team show some fight. I don't want to see them roll over and die. Because if they lose the series tomorrow, that is a big series to lose. Every series that they lose here on out is a big series to lose. And they have no wiggle room right now. So they really need to go out there and win this series tomorrow. It's a very early game, so I'll have an episode up probably pretty early tomorrow. Definitely within the next 24 hours. So I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow talking about Game 3 of this series. Hopefully the Orioles can pull off a win. Ravens content's about to start picking up here soon. Obviously we talked about minicamp a little bit. We are kind of in the dead spot of the offseason though, but things are really going to start picking up here very, very soon for those of y'all who are excited for the Ravens content. I'll see you on the next one. You have a great sales day. Go O's, go Ravens. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace